Hey, this is Stacia, and I'm going to share a tournament game that I played at the Parma Chess Club this past Tuesday on June 28th of 2022. And, well, I got to play Jim Nix, who I respect greatly and really like a lot. He's a very, very nice guy. And I do feel bad, though, because he's currently on his rating floor of 1800. Um, Well, and I'm, my rating's low for me too, so it's kind of a sad game. No, I'm just kidding. The game itself is actually pretty interesting. So let's have a look. He opened with e4. I went e5, knight f3, knight to c6, and he went bishop to b5. So this is the Spanish, and white is sort of menacing ideas with taking the knight and then taking on e5. It's one of the ideas. They're also thinking about playing c3, d4, and then tucking the bishop back that way. a6, bishop a4, knight to f6. I'm attacking his pawn, but he didn't see it. No, I'm just kidding. A basic rule of thumb that you might want to know in the Spanish is that you don't have to protect your pawn as long as you can capture your other opponent's e-pawn. So like, if I did take, white could take my knight, I take, and they take my pawn. So that's fair. And after bishop e7, it kind of goes the opposite. He could take, I could take, he could take, but I could take here. So, but once someone defends the pawn, like rook e1, well, now we got to do something about that, because now we're not playing that move. So that's why I went b5, which is the main move, bishop to b3, and castles. Okay, so my king is safe. And, well, what's my strategy so far? My strategy is I'm trying not to commit my d-pawn. Now, if you know me, and you don't, then you know, or don't know, that I like to sacrifice a pawn every game. So naturally, I like the martial attack. The martial attack sacrifices a pawn because I'm going to go d5 if white plays c3. Now c3 is the main move, and this is what was played the last time I faced Jim Nix with black. Well, when he played e4, put it that way, because he also plays d4 and we get Queen's Gambit accepted, but that's neither here nor there. If he had gone c3, which he did before, I would play d5, and yes, this is a pawn sacrifice. Now, if you haven't seen this before, you might be like, what are you talking about? That's not a pawn sacrifice, Stacia. That's protected. Okay, well, watch. They take, and now the rook's opened up on there because that pawn just went there. So they take here, we take, they take, and now unfortunately we have to play the move c6, and now black will get a big attack because basically the black position was improved by all this. If you look at the black pieces, they all look open. Our knight on c6 is gone, which is sort of a problem. It's no longer blocking our c-pawn, which is a problem. And white's main defender, the f3 knight, is gone. So we can begin our attack with bishop d6. Oh, wait usually plays d4. Bishop d6, they usually just drop back. There's nothing better, really. And then we go queen h4. And we start to attack over there. They go g3, we go here. Yeah, and this is interesting. Yeah, and you can tell that this is my second take on the video. Wasn't too happy with my first one. But yeah, this light square bishop suddenly wishes it was like over here, like on g2 or f1 or something. But the light square bishop cannot defend the light squares, so this gets very, very dangerous for white. But, it's holdable. Black's not winning or anything. But you should know that's a very sound gambit. It's one of the most sound ever because super GMs won't even allow it, which is kind of crazy, right? So they must think black's just equal. So it's like the most sound gambit in chess that I know of. The other one that's close is Evan's Gambit, but I have not seen any top level players play Evan's Gambit. But I do see them go for the Marshall. Even I think Magnus Carlsen was going for the Marshall like in the World Championship against Jan Nepomniachtchi, by the way. Okay, so anyway, that was my strategy. I'm going for Marshall. I'm not committing my D pawn, because if you put on D6, you spend that tempo. You can't really sacrifice after that. You can't spend the tempo. Okay, but in this game, Jim Nix remembered that I played a Marshall, and he said, let's go with something different. And he played A4. So this is the A4 anti-Marshall. There are several other anti-Marshalls. There is H3, there is D3, there is D4. There's deviating earlier even, playing D3 and stuff like that. So anyway, but he played A4. And I was like, oh good, I know this. Except for one thing. I was like, I know one move and then I have no clue. Yeah. Now I could see that attacks my pawn. And yes, it's protected, except it's really not protected. Like if I just go D6, he takes, and wins my rook. Yeah, that pawn is pinned. My rook is not yet protected. So that is why I went bishop to B7. So now my rook's protected, because I said so. Twice even. 3 times even. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. It is protected, but I'm not that excited. I was kidding about that. Okay. And then he went knight to C3. Now, I have never seen this move. The line I looked at in the anti-Marshall, they actually do take on B5, and then we trade rooks and stuff, and okay, I've looked at that. That's it. I haven't looked at anything else. I didn't know if this was theory or not theory, so what do we do against this? Well, knight C3 attacks the pawn again. That's one thing. It protects that again. That's another thing. The knight also may jump into D5. Notice that white's got a lot of control of D5. What's the negative? I think the negative might be that the knight is sort of committed here. It's blocking the C pawn. White generally would prefer to go C3, D4 if they can. So Jim Nix is playing a different way, trying to throw me off a bit. Makes sense. So I decided to play the move B4. Now, I will tell you that the engine gives a crazy move here that I thought about but quickly ruled out. And that's the move knight to D4. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, first of all, I'm like hanging a pawn, right? Aren't I hanging 2 pawns? Like, what's going on here? Like, that move looks a little ridiculous. And the engine gives some line like here, and if they want to take, great, but then we take here, they take here, then we go B4, and now we can trade on D5. So takes, and okay, what would I do if I was white? I mean, D4 looks good. All right, engine says A5, let's make sure that white can't play A5 and fix our pawn there. And then I guess black's like better in this position. And well, let's have a look around. Yeah, isolated pawn, double pawns. Black has 2 bishops. Black has a D6, C5 plan. Rook E8, rook C8. Yeah, I like all this. This looks very easy to play. And I could actually understand how black's better. Now, would I have any chance of finding that and calculating that accurately in a rapid game? No. No, I would not. At least not yet. In a classical game, even in a classical game, I would not see all that. So I said, oh, this hangs a pawn, maybe 2 pawns. And I ruled it out and went from there. I mean, okay. So I played the move B4. Now, this is the second best move because, you know, we're tickling the knight and we're saying, okay, what are you intending? If you're going to D5, you got to do that now. And Jim Nix said, yeah, I was going to D5. And I said, no talking. And then he said, why? It's Parma. Everybody talks. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, just kidding. None of that happened. All right, so here, well, I remember that National Master Ralph Tan um, suggested the move A5. I was analyzing with him at work on a lunch break, of course, not during work. That would be irresponsible. But he suggested that immediately because he's going for the bishop, I guess. This bishop is protecting that, and we're out of the way of the c pawn. So now black can do things like this, and or maybe even just c5. Maybe trade then c5. I don't know, but I do like knight a5. I think that's a pretty nice idea. And lo and behold, the National Master picked the top engine move. Okay, but I went d6 because I was like, hey, I want to do this, but not drop a pawn. How about that? So I played d6, protecting my pawn. But this did allow white time to play this move, a5. Now, that's a move that it fixes a weak pawn. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that my b4 pawn is kind of overextended a little bit. Now, if I could play a5, which I could have played, then it's protected and it's good. But when white plays a5, now I can't play a5. Now the only way to protect this is with c5. That's currently blocked. But I did intend to play c5. Okay, so I went knight d4, intending c5. He played bishop c4, saving his bishop. I actually thought he should take. I'm not sure why he did not do this. I thought this, and I was intending c5 and playing this kind of structure. And the engine hates it. It says take, take, d3. Okay, I would have went c5. This is sort of my idea. And then it says bishop g5. Okay. Why is this so great? Maybe it's getting awkward here. Oh, white's gonna play f4, I think, and stuff. Is that possible? Wow. Yeah, like I would go here. It gives f4 in that case right away. So I guess I can't really do that. And if I can't do that, then this pin is annoying. Yeah, the computer's good. So it sees that I can't really get out of this pin. I can't go there and I can't go there. I mean, if I go anywhere else, you know, I'm asking for it. You know, this kind of stuff. I call that the broken castle when I'm teaching. And I tell kids, you don't want a broken castle. Don't open the gate for the white pieces. Right? So I better not do that either. Okay. So anyway, I know that I'm indulging in some middle game strategy here in this opening, but it's quite interesting to me, honestly. So you know, I hope that you like it too. Okay, so I did go knight d4. He went bishop c4. Now, okay, c5. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to shore up my pawn chain. And yeah, I feel like my position's coming to life a little bit. He plays c3. That attacks my knight. And now it's like, okay, well, what do I want to do? It also attacks my pawn. Now, if he takes there and I take back, that pawn is weak. That makes a5 suddenly makes a lot of sense. So I was half tempted to take, but if I do take, I thought pawn takes, and a rook's going to appear on b1. I don't know about this, you know. Nothing's protecting this at the moment, but maybe he could do something to get that protected, like go d4 and this. He could also just play ideas like queen b3, because my knight will get kicked away and stuff. So yeah, I didn't like the open b file for white. I thought that's a little suspicious, so I didn't go for that. So instead I just retreated, and I'm like, okay, you know, I have ideas here. I might take the knight and then go knight f5 or knight f4, and I might just, you know, chill here. That's a good square for the knight. And now if he takes and takes, I even have knight c5. I'm not sure if I thought that during the game or not, but I would. Maybe that makes up for the weak pawn. Okay, so he went d3. Giving up on the d4 plan, I guess, but that's part of why I went c5 to protect d4. Yeah, and you know, sometimes you make a move and then later you're like, what was I doing? Well, that's what this move is. I remember playing it fairly quickly, and even during that game I was like, why did I play that? That's just silly. Like, didn't that just hang my b pawn? And the answer is yes. So yeah, I mean, Jim Nix took it, pretty sure. I went knight d4. I mean, if I take, he just takes, and I hate this position. Best move is to put my bishop back and be like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But, yeah, if I was going to do this over, I think I might play, let's see. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I might just take. If bishop takes, I think I'll take again. And then probably knight c7. Yeah, that's what the engine likes too. Okay, and I thought, you know, this could happen where white has this nice d5 pawn. But on the other hand, this square's sort of ours. And okay, I guess this is playable. I think white's better, but the engine disagrees. It thinks black's better. I was going to say I'm not a big fan of the white bishop because there's a lot of pawns on white squares. Maybe it doesn't matter that much in this position. And then same with my bishop. My bishop's sort of blocked, but not really. We've got this side. So now, aside from that, I have no clue why I'd be better here. Oh, I know why. Wait, I know why. Because now we have a clear plan. We can go f4. f4, maybe e4, maybe f4. I mean f5 and f4. And say rar. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And now it actually, when I look at this structure, what's white's pawn break? I guess they have to go for f4, but is that really what they want to do? And I'm going to get mine first. Okay, I kind of understand why black's better now. Yeah, if that's the problem with calculation. If, and that's a big if I saw that position in my head, would I evaluate that's better for black? The only way to evaluate it better for black is to see that the color of the bishops doesn't matter so much, but the plan does. The f5 plan does matter. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. And that's also interesting because Michael Jolson, while analyzing with him, we were all analyzing together, he kept mentioning trading and then playing f5, and that's what he was talking about. Wow. Okay. That's why he's a master. Okay. So in the game, though, knight e6, bishop c6. I just don't like this move. I mean, my idea was to go here, but I guess I didn't like my bishop at the time, but I don't know. I think that's a silly move. I hate it. It just drops a pawn. So instead of taking on b4 and allowing knight takes b4, I have the knight in, and I thought, okay, you know, if they take on c5, which he did, I thought, okay, I will, what was my idea? I had an idea here. Take with check. Yeah, and take back, right? That makes some sense. Because if I take back immediately, I thought there was a problem here. What is the problem? Oh, it's this, of course. Yeah, my e-pawn's hanging. So that is why I got to, I've got to trade first. I can't let that happen. But sadly, I kind of improved the white queen a bit. But then I take back. Okay. And, well, black's Black's just worse here. Because I lost a pawn. I've got nothing for it. I've got two bishops, but so does my opponent. I've got a weak isolated c-pawn. I mean, he's got some weaknesses too, but he could try to play for d4. He could try to play for b4. He could try to play for f4. It's harder for Black to play for anything. And Jim Nix did take on e7. I took with a queen. And then bishop g5. So now he's completing his development. He's got the two bishops now as well. And I'm in a pin. So I really like white here. And believe me, I knew that I was worse. And I think it was around this point in the game, or maybe a couple moves further, that, you know, I looked at the clock and it's like, you know, he had 12 minutes left and I had 3 minutes. Sometimes I can play against Jim Nix on the clock a little bit, but I failed to do that as well because I was just immersed in studying that middle game and trying to find good moves. So I was like, I kind of resigned on the inside a little bit. I was like, you know, I'm probably going to lose and oh well, you know, but I'll try my best. And I thought, you know, if I could win on time, that's the only way I'm going to win this. Or if he makes a huge blunder. So I was kind of playing for tricks and trying to play quickly. So rook b8, b3, of course, defending. I went bishop b5. I thought this isn't ideal, but at least I don't, you know, at least my pawns are protected, but of course that's still a problem. But he wouldn't have two bishops at least. So he went there, rook d8, bishop to d5. Okay, he's offering his bishop because my knight's pinned. So we're not gonna do that. So I unpinned, queen d6, and now rook a to c1. And okay, well, I've got this pawn is on a semi-open file, so white can, you know, place all their major pieces, their rooks and their queen, on that file and just put a lot of pressure there. It's gonna be hard for me to defend because, well, he can take the knight first of all, and also that bishop's the wrong color. The only way that might help is if I do push c4 at some moment. But okay. So I saw this coming and I moved my rook. I was also stepping out of the pin. So finally he does take. I mean, also, I was not thrilled about this either. I thought this is just so losing. Because now my kingside pawns are wrecked. Is this a problem? I assume so. Yeah, I mean, this is pinned and I don't know. I even think white could just slow play it and play like that. And maybe get some rooks over here on the king side. Yeah. Okay, but he chose queen e3 because he's going for that plan, which also makes sense. So I went queen d6, protect it. h3, avoiding back rank. So I went g6. I really want to get out of this pin. So I really want to go king g7 and f6. Okay, so he went rook c3. He's going to double. So rook c7, I'm going to double too. He doubled, I doubled, we all doubled. All right. Okay, now queen f3. I didn't have these moves written down. I kind of like tried to remember them later because I think I had 1 minute left here. But something like this happened. Yeah, and I wish I could remember the rest, but I don't know that I'll be able to. I think he like put his bishop here. I went here. He ended up trying stuff. Like, I don't know. I did end up going f6. We ended up just kind of maneuvering a lot. And, well, you know, Jim Nix eventually did break through. But we both had seconds left on the clock. And sadly, I had 1 second left, and then he flagged. Can you believe that? So, yeah, games like this make me feel like rapid chess is just silly, and blitz and everything, because it's like I played just a terrible game. I got completely outplayed this game. And for me to claim a win at the very end by 1 second, it just feels like nothing's fair in this world. But maybe it is fair because I played great games that I lose on time. But still, I want to say, at the very end, Jim Nix had a 2 pawn up, king and pawn ending. It was completely lost. Completely. Um, so it is sort of tragic that it ended right then, but I guess good for me. I need a win. And so my next opponent actually got mad after he lost and left. So I didn't get a round 2 game, which is sad. But I did get a round 3 game against a youngster named Stacia. I think he's 18 or 19 years old. And so we'll take a look at that game next. So thanks so much for watching. This is Stacia. I'll be back with more chess.